This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. A search for the truth. That's what today's hearing was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a search for the truth. A search for the truth about Donald Trump and his presidency. From Michael Cohen, the man who stood by Trump for a decade. Instead, here's what we got. We got this.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. No one should ever listen to you and give you credibility. It's sad.
It is sad. It's sad, all right.
I just find it interesting, sir, that between yourself and your colleagues, that not one question so far since I'm here has been asked about President Trump. That's actually why I thought I was coming today, not to confess the mistakes that I've made. I've already done that, and I'll do it again every time you ask me about taxes or mistakes. Yes, I made my mistakes. I'll say it now again, and I'm going to pay the ultimate price. But I'm not here today, and the American people don't care about my taxes. They want to know what it is that I know about Mr. Trump, and not one question so far has been asked about Mr. Trump.
Now, the fact is, Michael Cohen was apparently perfectly willing to do illegal and unethical things until he got caught. And he's going to pay for that, as he should pay for it. But you cannot care, as I always say, you cannot care about one lie or liar and then dismiss another. That is the definition of hypocrisy. If you believe that Michael Cohen lied, then you've got to believe that the president lied too. That's how it works. Logic, fact, reality, it works that way. If Michael Cohen lied about hush money, didn't Trump? Come on, people, use your brain. But Cohen says that the GOP is falling into the same trap that he did. Do anything, say anything to protect Donald Trump.
Everybody's job at the Trump Organization is to protect Mr. Trump. Every day, most of us knew we were coming in and we were going to lie for him on something. And that became the norm. And that's exactly what's happening right now in this country. And it's exactly what's happening here in government, sir.
So let me ask you this question. So is this what the Trump presidency has done to us? Has it turned us into a nation that will accept anything from a man who told us that he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose voters?
Well, the president, unlike my Cohen for Trump that has 1,000 followers, he's got over 60 million people. And when Mr. Trump turned around early in the campaign and said, I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and get away with it, I want to be very clear. He's not joking. He's telling you the truth. You see, you don't know him. I do. I sat next to this man for 10 years, and I watched his back. He's sending out the same message that he can do whatever he wants. This is his country. He's becoming an autocrat.
And there was another pretty shocking thing that came up again and again in today's hearing, okay? Did you see this? Republican Congressman Mark Meadows, he brought a special guest, Lynn Patton, who's a Trump administration official, as if she were a live prop, trotting her out in an attempt to prove that this president couldn't possibly be a racist.
I asked Lynn to come today in her personal capacity to actually shed some light. How long have you known Ms. Patton?
I'm responsible for Lynn Patton joining the Trump Organization and the job that she currently holds.
Well, I'm glad you acknowledged that, because you made some very demeaning comments about the president that Ms. Patton doesn't agree with. In fact, it has to do with your claim of racism. She says that as a daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, that there is no way that she would work for an individual who was racist. How do you reconcile the two of those, Mr.
As neither should I, as the son of a Holocaust survivor.
It's like, I have a black friend, prop. A black employee, prop. Come on, y'all. What he's essentially saying is this president can't be racist because he's hired this black woman. That's not how racism works. And by the way, in fairness, in truth, we asked Mark Meadows to come on. I wanted to hear from him himself to explain, to have a thoughtful conversation. But he went on Fox News with Sean Hannity tonight. And I think I could have had a really good conversation about this with him. I'd still like to have that conversation. And by the way, Lynn Patton didn't say a single word during the hearing. Congressman Brenda Lawrence was outraged.
I just want to put on the record as being a black American and having endured the public comments of racism from the sitting president, as being a black person, I can only imagine what's being said in private. And to prop up one member of our entire race of black people and say that that nullifies that is totally insulting. And in this environment of expecting a president to be inclusive and to look at his administration speaks volume.
I am going to be talking to the Congresswoman about that in just a few minutes, so stay tuned. But that wasn't the end of it. Here's Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley.
Would you agree that someone could deny rental units to African Americans, lead the birther movement, refer to the diaspora as shithole countries, and refer to white supremacists as fine people, have a black friend, and still be racist?
Yes.
Yep. But things really got heated when Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib said this.
Just to make a note, Mr. Chairman, just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they aren't racist. And it is insensitive that some would even say it's the fact that someone would actually use a prop, a black woman, in this chamber, in this committee, is alone racist in itself. Donald Trump is setting a precedent.
Mr. Chairman, I ask that her words be taken down.
President, I reclaim my time.
Mr. Chairman,
Trump is setting a precedent.
Mr.
That
Chairman,
the highest office can be attained.
Mr. Chairman, the rules are clear.
Cover up and hold on to business assets to break campaign finance laws and constitutional clauses.
But these young women are really getting under the skins of the establishment. The old guys, aren't they? They're probably more in touch with the people than most of the people who are in Congress now. And they don't like it because things are changing. Finally, Chairman Elijah Cummings had to step in.
Ms. Tlaib, I want to make sure I understand. You were not intending to call Mr. Meadows a racist, is that right?
No, Mr. Chairman, I do not call Mr. Meadows a racist.
No,
I am trying,
wait a minute, hold
as
on.
a person of color, Mr. Chairman, just to express myself and how I felt at that moment. And so, just for the record, that's what was my intention.
All right. All right. Mr. Meadows.
Mr. Chairman, there's nothing more personal to me than my relationship. My nieces and nephews are people of color.
So look, the congressman obviously loves his family. You saw how emotional he was there. But honestly, that is just not the point. It's not the point that you have loved ones who are people of color. It's not the point that you've hired a person of color. It's not the point that some of your best friends are people of color. This is what, especially people of color, try to get people to understand all the time, okay? It is entirely possible for any of those things to be true and for a person to still do things that are racist. It's like you can do something that is dumb, doesn't mean that your whole entire being is dumb. You made a stupid decision. So you did a racist act, or you made a racist statement. Does that make you entirely a racist? No. But the act of what you did can actually be racist and short-sighted. Frankly, though, a whole lot of what we heard today was beside the point. What we're supposed to be doing is trying to get to the truth. This is where I started. We're supposed to be getting to the truth. But instead, we spent more than 7 hours sorting through lies. The president's lies, which he will never admit to. Michael Cohen's lies, at least he admits to them. One lie after another from the people surrounding this president and the president himself. Lies that distract us from what really matters in this country.